1 p.m.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program Discourse here on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining us on today's edition of the program as we're looking to have conversation around the developing stories in Rivers crisis, and most importantly, we've seen that the governor of Kano State, Governor Abba Yusuf, has officially dumped NNPP and joined the All Progressive Congress that happened yesterday. And we'll be having conversations around that light. But the impeachment conversation is still very much ongoing with that of Rivers State. But quickly, let me bring you up to speed with what CSOs, corporate society organizations are saying, because they are calling on the president to intervene in the matter. Questions are being asked. It's the situation in Rivers State. Has it come to a point where another drastic decision or another serious decision that was taken by the president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, last year, putting the state in a state of emergency for the period of 6 months? Are we coming to that point again where we would see a decision like that, a tough decision like that being made by the president? Because we've seen CSOs and several coalitions calling on the president to intervene on the matter. But quickly, let me bring you up to date and up to speed with the recent happenings within Rivers State. The chairman of the Elders Forum of CNPP and Coalition of Civil Society Organizations, Alhaji Baba Abubakar, reading the statement issued by the groups during a joint press briefing in Abuja, urged the president to defend constitutional democracy, protect the mandate of the people of Rivers State, and prevent what they describe as a dangerous political precedent. According to them, the situation in Rivers State transcends local politics and constitution, a major test of Nigerians' commitment to constitutional governance, separation of power, and democratic stability. The coalition asserted that the political turmoil did not arise from governance failure or constitutional breaches by Governor Similare Fubara, but from what is described as a calculated attempt to seize control of the state's power through the manipulation of legislative institutions. They maintained that following the return of the Governor Similare Fubara to office and his defection to All Progressive Congress, expectation of reconciliation and stability were dashed by renewed impeachment threats, which they describe as a deliberate effort to keep the state in perpetual political uncertainty. The coalition also maintained that Fubara had not committed any offense that met the constitutional threshold for impeachment under Section 188 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. In insisting that there was no agitation of gross misconduct or breakdown of governance, it alleged that the Rivers State House of Assembly was being weaponized as a tool for political conquest rather than serving as a guide of democracy, warning that such a development posed serious risks to national peace and federalism. Our correspondent Ubong Sor was present on ground when all of this conversation and the joint press conference was held here in Abuja. He has the rest of the details.
Civil society organizations, the Conference of the Nigeria Political Parties, CNPP, and the Coalition of National Civil Societies Organization, CNCSOS, after a meeting in Abuja, expressed concerns over renewed impeachment threats against Rivers State Governor Similare Fubara. They say following the governor's return to office and the defection of some lawmakers of the Rivers State House of Representatives, Nigerians expected reconciliation and a renewed focus on governance, but the state has instead slipped back into political tension.
Our intervention is driven by a solemn patriotic duty to defend constitutional democracy, protect the mandate of the people of Rivers State, and avert a grave political precedent that now threatens national peace and democracy. What is unfolding in Rivers State goes far beyond politics. It represents a critical test of Nigerian commitment to constitutional governance, separation of powers, and democratic stability.
The groups insist that Governor Similaye Fubara has not committed any offense that meets the constitutional requirements for impeachment under Section 188 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, noting that there are no credible allegations of gross misconduct.
Let us be clear. Governor Fubara has not committed any act that meets the constitutional threshold for impeachment under Section 188 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. There is no credible allegation of gross misconduct, no paralysis of governance, no popular uprising demanding his removal.
That described the situation as a weaponization of Rivers State House of Assembly, accusing lawmakers of political intimidation rather than democratic oversight. The group urged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as president and leader of the All Progressive Congress (APC), to intervene urgently, warning that failure to act could encourage similar crises in other states and endanger national unity and democratic stability. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News.
Many thanks, Ubong, for that report. Now we are about to extray and get right into the conversation. Joining me to have this conversation is Comrade James Ezema, who is a journalist, a political analyst, and also the national president of Not Too Young to Perform initiative. Good afternoon. I've seen you this year, but I'll still say Happy New Year to you. I'll still say Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. Every day is a new year.
Every day is a new year. But this new year, I was thinking, since it's the new year, the old conversation of impeachment and all would be left in the previous year, but it found its way somehow to cross over into the year 2026. And we are seeing this same conversation of impeachment of Similaye Fubara. What do you think? And now, this press conference that was held yesterday, according to what was said by Baba Abubakar, he said that he has not committed any offense of that magnitude based on the Constitution, and that he quoted 188 subsection 188 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. But the legislatures now, on the other hand, are saying demolition and also misappropriations of funds and all of that. What is the major bone of contention here?
Well, it's good that you are talking of carrying over the last year's political squabble into the new year.
Yes.
But I can even tell you that we have carried the political squabble from one political party to another political party. So it's not even only about carrying it over into a new year.
Yes.
We have carried it from the PDP to the APC, and that is where the issue it became a serious national challenge and a big threat to democracy, because you cannot actually divulge what is happening from a possible template that other states gladiators may want to emulate, in their state.
Yes.
In terms of weaponizing the legislative houses.
But do you think that's what is happening now?
That's exactly what's happening. That is exactly what's happening. When you talk about impeachment, impeachment is a constitutional role. Yes, it's part of the constitutional responsibility of every state assembly, but it's not meant to be used recklessly. It's just like exercising executive power in a rascally manner. We see it when people in executive offices want to establish themselves, and then they will now be using those powers, irresponsibly, and that's when you hear of abuse of power.
Yes.
The same way with the legislature, you cannot abuse legislative powers. No, you cannot abuse legislative powers, because it is a constitutional responsibility that's supposed to be used in a constitutional manner. There is a process for impeachment, and if that process for impeachment is initiated, good and fine. You have to establish the merit of the allegation. When you establish the merit of the allegation, the process will go on until the end. And then if at the end of the impeachment process and the governor or the president or the vice president or the deputy governor discovers and said, look, this impeachment process, I don't agree with the process, I don't agree with the allegations, and I am heading to the courts. It will still return back to the court for the court to adjudicate. We saw it in Anambra State, where the then governor of Anambra State, Mr. P2B, got to the point that he said, no, this impeachment, the way and manner you did it and the reason for which you did this, you carried out this impeachment, I don't accept it. And he went to court. And then the court declared him the governor of the state and returned him to office. This is what we are talking about, that there is, when the legislature becomes a weaponized instrument of a political gladiator, because this is exactly what happened in Anambra, that some godfathers who wanted the then governor to do things their own way were not happy with him. So they decided to weaponize the legislative assembly and use the legislative assembly to remove P2B as a governor. This is exactly what we are seeing repeating itself in Rivers State, where some people, because they feel that this is my son and I sent you to school and I want you to learn how to spell Jumbo, and he cannot spell it, then you want to crucify the son because I have spent money to send you to school and you cannot spell Jumbo. And that is exactly what.
But looking at the process at which the legislative have been following this matter, though earlier on we saw some members of the legislative house agreeing, the whole house agreeing. At some point we saw some persons backing out and saying they should find out an amicable way to solve the matter. So do you think now that these legislative actions now are not being done legally?
It's not about legality.
Okay.
You can carry out a constitutional function in a way and manner that does not represent the interest of social justice, does not represent the interest of the people. Because what the ultimate aim of government is for you as a leader who have found yourself in government to do everything possible to not just carry the people you are governing along, but to ensure their welfare and their own security. This is actually the primary responsibility of government. So what we are seeing in Rivers State is where the ordinary people, who are the voters, who voted a governor, is now being made to, to suffer for voting in a person that was sold to them and they wholeheartedly accepted. Then now what you are doing is that you want them to continue to suffer from bad governance. Because once there's the destabilization and there is all kinds of instability within the governance system in Rivers State, the people that will pay the price is the ordinary people who are supposed to have good road, who are supposed to have water, who are supposed to have electricity, who are supposed to have things that help them to live a better life. And then you have distracted the governor, you have made him not to be able to focus on delivering his campaign promises. And then because you are not fighting him because of his failure to deliver, you are fighting him because you want control. And that is what you are saying, that control is not part of politics. It's actually political banditry. And that is what the people, the CMPP and the coalition of civil society organizations spoke yesterday loud and clear. Look, everything is happening in Rivers State is a political banditry that must not be allowed to be replicated in any other part of the country.
Larry Fubara now decamping to the APC. Do you think that was an avenue to be able to solve out this problem, or to get the president fully involved with what is happening in Rivers State? Before he decamped, we saw the president's announcing a state of emergency for 6 months, which brought in a sole administrator in the person of Abbas, who was there for a period of 6 months, and then when he returned back, he was still Governor Sibilare Fubara was still in the PDP. Before, after a couple of months, he later defected to the All Progressive Congress. Do you think this move was to get the presidency fully involved with what is happening in Rivers State, based on the fact that they are now party members?
Well, for me, his move from PDP to APC is a personal decision.
Okay.
And I don't really know what inspired him to do that. But even if it was for the purpose of getting the president involved, the president was already involved
yes.
even before he decamped.
That's talking about him now, the president not just being involved, but being involved and saying, okay, I'm on your team. We are on the same team. We are of the members of the All Progressive Congress. That means you should tilt to my direction in terms of support.
It is not impossible that the governor of Rivers State decided to move because he felt that I am not safe in the party where I was elected. I'm no longer safe because it is members of the same party under which I was elected that are trying to strangulate me. So let me try and move to another political party where probably they will accept me.
A soft landing.
And allow me to function. I don't think there is even a matter of a soft landing because you can only be talking about soft landing if there is element of criminality that you can say you is associated with the governor. At this time, he is just somebody who feels that people who are around me and who's supposed to stand by me are not allowing me to govern. And then since your party does not allow me to do what I'm supposed to do, let me explore another political party and see whether they can be allowed to function in that political party. And that is what I think that was what has happened. And in any case, the decision is his. You know, personally, I don't like when people defect from I elected on one political platform and they defect to another political platform. But the issue here is if the platform that you have been elected into does not allow you to function, will you in the bid for you to get the people to make the people happy, not your party, then you can decide to explore every other avenue that is available to you.
Because number one, the people have to come first. But looking at it from those angles, as a leader now who has been elected in a specific party, don't you think he have the power and the mind to be able to correct and then make things right within the party in the state? As it's been said that the governor of whichever party is actually the leader of that political party in that state. Don't you think that he has a veto power, or is godfatherism playing a major role in making sure that some state governors don't have the actual power to be able to take some level of decisions in terms of governing the people despite being elected by the people?
You see, let us be clear about something.
Okay.
You see, there's a difference between godfatherism and political control.
Okay.
A godfather is like a guardian.
Okay.
Godfather is like a guardian.
Okay.
Is like a guardian. Is like somebody that tells you, okay, we should go to this place because by experience I know that this place is the best place to go. I know that this place is the best place to go. This is what you should do to make the people happy, to get the buy-in of the people in your government, trying to give a positive direction to the person who is your political godson.
Okay.
But when you talk about political control, this person actually wants to be the Lord. And then you will be the one to decide for you who you appoint, who you don't appoint, who you associate with, who you don't associate with, how you spend the state fund, and how you don't spend it. And this is the thing we're talking about. And that is and how you don't spend it. And this is the thing we're talking about. And that is what most political observers don't want to continue will be using elsewhere. you know, when it happened in Anambra State, it did not work. And probably that should be a thing that should have dissuaded some people from getting through it. But in this matter now, in Rivers State, if it's allowed to fester and allowed to sail through, then it could be, the next place could be Kogi State, it could be Anambra State, it could be... So this is what we're talking about, that you cannot allow something that will become a national tragedy and a plot to bring down and destroy the democratic process that we have established over the years, and then we will be watching and be looking. So it is actually a threat to democracy, and that was established yesterday. That, look, this issue is a threat to democracy itself, because democracy is superior to governance. It is through the democratic process that you can now be talking about governance. Yes. But if the democratic process itself is destroyed, then you can't talk about governance. Governance is gone. So, and that is why the civil society and the Conference of the Nigerian Political Party have come together, and after careful analysis of what is happening in the state, they say no, we can't continue to fold our hands and see how and they don't do nothing, and things are getting bad, and then maybe one other state, maybe Nasarawa State or any other state, will decide to copy it, and the political godfather will now turn himself into a political hawk that wants to take over the state and make sure that the governor does not function using whatever he is saying.
But looking at it now, do you know there's been there are actually series of allegations, you know, made against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, which centers mostly around misappropriation of funds and delay of salaries, and also demolition of some, you know, institutions. But do you think that isn't that enough reason to be able to look into the governor properly and also bring out other facts that might be there that leads to, you know, that may lead to him being impeached?
You see, talking about misappropriation of funds, that yesterday there was something that was made clear, that the state in itself during the period, that period of emergency rule, that period, there were a lot of revenue that came to the state through both the federal allocation and the internally generated revenue, totaling almost 254 billion. Now, this money is said to have been shared even with the people who are in the state assembly, even though they were suspended. It's like probably that you know, since a new sheriff that is in town came as a result of the trouble that they caused. It could be like this, let us compensate them, and this is part of what the CNPP and the CSO are calling for, the probe of that tenor of a bus, and then the sole administration, the period should be probed. How was that money spent? And then, since people are now fingering that this money was actually shared by those the key players at the time when the sole administrator was in office. So, and then if that be the case, then you will know that there may be no money to even pay the salary. And you know the thing is that Governor Fubara is not somebody that comes out to talk. If not that they are is trying to struggle to even make some statement. I've seen him and observed him that he's not that kind of a talkative kind of person. But what will you do when people are pushing you and pulling you and pushing you and pulling you? You don't even know where to stand. You may even eventually begin to scream. But if that be the case, the thing is that what we're actually concerned about as Nigerians and as citizens is that what is happening in Rivers State must not be tolerated. whether he is in APC or he's in PDP or he's in another political party. It should not be tolerated where the state assembly is being used as a weapon to make sure that a sitting governor does not function. If you allow it to happen, it will happen in Kano, in Sokoto, it will happen in Zamfara, it will happen in Jigawa, it will happen in Lagos, it will happen in Ogun, it will happen in Anambra, it will happen in Enugu, it will happen everywhere. So we must not allow this to become a template that any godfather anywhere should be allowed to explore.
What role now do you think the president can play now in terms of curbing out this this problem going on within the River State political circle?
So it's pure and simple. Governor Fubara was once in PDP, but now he's in APC. And the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is a member of the APC. And then being a member of the APC, not just that he's a member, he's the leader of the APC by Nigerian political calculations. And then being the leader of the APC, he has every power now to say, hey, boys, everybody, who are you? Come, let us discuss. Who are the gladiators? Identify them, bring them, call them and say, let them come to the villa. They come and meet you. You tell them, okay, this is our party now. When you were in APC, in PDP, you were doing your thing the way you wanted it. But here in our party, this is how we want things to be done.
But those fighting Fubara now are still in the same party with him.
Well,
are they saying there are two different fractions down in the APC?
The issue is that, well, even if you are, that's what I'm saying.
Are they two different fractions? Do you know if they are
no,
two different fractions?
No, you know, this thing is a carryover problem from the PDP to the APC. So what I'm saying is that if we bring them together and tell them, look, in our party, that's why I said in our party, this is how we do things. We don't do things this way. Yes, in your party, you used to do it anyhow you like. But I am the president and I am the leader of the party at the national level. And Governor Fubara is the leader of the party at the state level. And then this is how we do things in our party. No, don't come and treat our party issues within our party the way you treated it in PDP. No, this is a different political party. And that's simple. That's solve the problem once and for all. And everybody goes to sleep.
But looking at, do you think that would be able to happen just like the way you're explaining it? Because right now, it's looking as if there's a chaos going on in the chapter of APC in River State, because this said lawmakers are also members of the All Progressive Congress. Okay, well,
it's just an offshoot of different kind of political problems and interests. You see, in Rivers, there were the APC members that were loyal to the former Minister of Transport, and there were the other ones that were loyal to the former governor of the state and now Minister of FCT. So that divide has been there. So within the PDP and within the APC, and then some people were, the thing is that the Minister of FCT is like a go-between between PDP and APC. He's somebody that is in PDP, is in APC, and then he's trying to bring people here and bring loyal people here, and use loyal people in the APC for APC issue, and use loyal people in PDP for PDP matters. And then at the end of it, the chaos will continue. So, but what we are saying is that the president has the powers to stop this thing. After all, it was the president that appointed the minister of the FCT, and he's working for Mr. President, even though they are not in the same political party. So he can always say, come, let us have peace in River State, and it will be done.
What does this look like now? The election year is upon us. Very soon now, campaigns here and there will begin. What does this mean now for the president's re-election? Because he has made it clear that he wants to run for a second tenure. And again, we're looking at how will this shape in the political landscape and the forthcoming election in River State based on all of this fragmentation that we're seeing, some persons loyal to this and some other persons loyal to this, to a different party. And also before Similari Fubara decamped from the PDP to the APC, he was tilting towards the CPC, if you remember, during the councillorship election Almost the whole
the APP,
CPC.
There was the APP that you know, took over the local government structure at the time, because
before
his
the court
party,
came in,
his party, the PDP, was having problem, and they were giving him issues, and that's the same issue that have been moved from the PDP to the APC.
APC, yes.
So that's why we're looking at it, that the president will even be the greatest loser if this matter continue unresolved, because in 2027 people will be divided about who do we go for.
Yes.
And then that is a big problem. Meanwhile, the Minister of FCT is claiming that he's working for the re-election of Mr. President. Governor Fubara is claiming that he's working for the re-election of Mr. President. If these two people are saying we are working for the same president, why is all this trouble
coming?
And then that will keep the electorate confused. They will not even know who to follow. Because if two people who are working for the same person are fighting, so how do you think that the electorate will be carried along? They'll begin to wonder, what kind of confusion is this one?
Yes.
You are working for the person, the other person is working for the same person, and at the end of it, two of you cannot stay together. So does that spell any political future for the ordinary citizen in that state? And that is where the problem is, because the president himself will not be able to go there and convincingly campaign and tell the people that you should vote for me for a second tenure, because if ordinary issues like this you cannot resolve it, then it's a problem.
Okay, this is actually a problem. We've seen, so far we've not seen in recent years, we've not seen, the president stepping in and creating a state of emergency, and also seeing a sole administrator coming up. But how do you think this has hampered the development of Rivers State so far, based on the fact that the governor now has not even been able to deliver what he promised, his manifesto, to the people of Rivers State? Looking at it, do you think the people will still have belief in the APC now as it stands, because he's no longer a member of the PDP? Do you think the people would have believed that, yes, he would be able, that's talking about Governor Simlai Fubara now, if he will be able to carry on with the manifesto based on the fact that he was suspended for 6 months during his administration, the first tenure, which is when you get to say, get the ball rolling and expect to maybe finish if you get re-elected in the second tenure. But now, another election year is upon us, and this individual hasn't had enough time. It has been from one problem to the other. Do you think the people of Rivers State would still trust him to be able to deliver good governance and provide them infrastructure and job creation for the people of Rivers?
Now, if you watch before even the declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State, you will see how the ordinary people in Rivers State were so much advocating in support of the governor. So it is something that I will take the support of the people and the trust of the people for granted, because it was actually the people that pushed. It was the same push even during the emergency rule that even led to his return to office in the first place. Okay. So if that is these same people who have been rallying around him, I don't think they will lose trust. But what will happen is that they may look at an alternative individual and a political party with less rancor, where they want a stable government that can work for them. That is what actually I'm looking at, and that's where it is the APC itself that will lose at the end of the day, because it will mean that these people cannot help us. So if they can be fighting among themselves and behaving this way, then we may want to look for an alternative political platform. So it is not just about the APC, the Governor Fubara himself. It's about the APC itself as a political party. That is the one that will be losing, because at the end of it, nobody will trust the party to deliver good governance in Rivers State, and that is the problem. And that's why they have to solve this problem once and for all, and do it now before the thing festers and becomes a kind of an example or a precedent for other states to start copying.
With the president out of the country now, how long do you think this will linger for? Because, you know, individuals, civil society organizations, just like yesterday, have been calling on the president to make a move. With him being absent now, how do you think this will linger for? Because, you know, if you don't cover up one side of the roof, it just keeps, you know, it continues to leak. So, you know, with this leakage now, you are seeing it.
Now, the president being out of the country,
yes,
does not hamper anything. All the president needs to do, he knows the political gladiators in Rivers State. Is they are each and every one of them is a phone call away. Mr. Lagbaja, hold on, and let's shield the sword until I'm back. When I'm back, I will look into the matter. End of discussion. So that is it.
All right. Well, let's go on a very, very quick break to catch our breath, and then when we return back, we'll still continue this conversation around the impeachment as it looms over Governor Similari Fubara and his deputy. Albeit the lawmakers in Rivers State are alleging that he misappropriated a whole lot of funds, delayed salaries, and just so much more. Afterward, we'll also have a conversation around the Governor of Kano State, Yusuf Abba, who decamped officially from the NNPP, New Nigerian People's Party, to the All Progressive Congress. We're going to have a conversation around that and also look at the internal crisis going on within the New Nigerian People's Party and how the defection to the All Progressive Congress would help the people of Kano State. Stay with us, we'll be right back shortly after this break. Yes, many thanks for staying with us. We are still here on Discourse. If you just joined in, this is Discourse, and I am Samuel Odi. I have with me a journalist and a political analyst, and also the national president of Not Too Young to Perform Initiative, Comrade James Ezema, and we are having an interesting conversation around political developments, its impeachment, which looms over Governor Similari Fubara, and also the defection of Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf, who officially decamped to the All Progressive Congress yesterday after announcing his resignation over the weekend. So looking at it now, let's take a quick flight to Kano State and look at the political system in Kano State. He won the election under NNPP, the New Nigerian People's Party, which is the political party, as they say, of Kwankwaso. So looking at it now, the campaign to the APC, did you see this coming from your standpoint as a political analyst?
Well, in politics, anything can happen.
Just like football.
It's a game, and in playing politics, yes, anything can happen. There is nothing you cannot foresee. That's why at one of the days I was saying that the president can even wake up and say, I'm not contesting in 2027. And most people who should not even be surprised because it's part of what happens in politics. Yes. In politics, you cannot say that you can guarantee anything and everything because anything can actually happen at any point in time. You will see somebody who is going with you on a political journey, or all of a sudden you see him tell you, look, I can't continue. I can't continue any longer. You have seen it in states where state governors will wake up one morning and say, no, I can't stay in this party.
We saw that in Osun State.
We saw it in Osun State. We saw it in Enugu State. We saw it in Akwa Ibom State. We saw it in Jos. We saw it in Plateau State. So things are happening. So people are just moving. And then you will see that somebody who is in APC may decide and say, look, within our locality here, man, the political party that is in the game is a Labour Party, for instance,
yes.
and I'm going to Labour Party, and that is how politics is. Because in Nigeria, politics is not ideology based. It's just about how do we have access to the resources and how do we share it. That is the politics we play in Nigeria. It's politics of resource sharing, and then you need to have access before you can share the resources. So, and that political party is the only platform on which you can be sponsored to have access to the sharing of resources through the vote of the people. Whether you were rigged in the process or not is immaterial. It is just having access. That's what people want, and that is where democracy in Nigeria is having a problem, because the process, the democratic process in Nigeria is challenging. That's why a lot of people are now clamoring for a credible election, credible electoral process that will produce credible individual that can actually work in the interest of the people. See, you see, every year and every election year and every tenure of any person that is elected in office in Nigeria, there are very few things that we keep on talking about, and one of them is water. Water. The other is electricity. The other one is road. So
now insecurity is coming into the mix.
No, the issue of insecurity is that it seems we are trying now to see insecurity as part of our daily life, because you see, there's something about human being. When something continues to happen, you begin to see it as part of your everyday life, so you continue to adapt to it.
But do you think
that's what we are already doing in Nigeria? We are adapting to insecurity, believing that if I am kidnapped, fine, that is part of life. If I die in the process, fine, it's part of life. It has gotten to a point that insecurity is no longer becoming a thing that makes people afraid.
But don't you think that the leaders now are failing in their duty as leaders to protect the lives of every citizen of the country?
Not just that they are failing in their duty to protect life and property, but they are actually decimating the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because the Constitution said clearly that it is the primary responsibility of every government to protect lives and property. So if you are not carrying out that basic responsibility, you have failed and you have breached the Constitution itself. So we shouldn't even be talking. You know why we are talking about this is because the same Constitution now made it unjusticiable. Otherwise, we should be going to court against any government that cannot provide security, that cannot provide protect the property of the people. If you cannot protect the life and property of the people, we should have actually gone to court. But this Constitution, you know, in the lacuna that you always create, is now protected the person who is allowing the people to be killed and their property destroyed by saying no, you can't go to court against the person. And that is why we have a problem. Such kind of clauses in the Constitution should be removed, because if they are not removed, we continue to have bad governance in Nigeria, where people will sit quietly in their houses and in their offices and do things the way they are doing it without thinking about any consequences. Because the consequence of not providing for the welfare of the people and the security of the people should be that somebody somewhere who is affected could go to court against the sitting governor or the sitting president and say, look, court, my right to life is threatened. My right to ownership of property is threatened, and then my property has been destroyed. Oh, my family member, the life has been taken away, and because the government could not protect him or her. And that is what we are talking about. If it goes to court, then the person who is responsible and who should also have done what the Constitution said would not be held accountable. But now you cannot hold them accountable because why? These people have been protected by the Constitution. So, and that is what we should be. It's just like immunity. Immunity became a blanket thing that anybody, if like the sitting governor, decide to weaponize immunity against the people, then nobody will stay in that state because he can decide to take up whip and start whipping everybody on the street. And there's nothing you can do because he's protected by immunity. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about rivers. That you cannot weaponize the State House of Assembly because it is dangerous. It is dangerous for democracy because anybody who decides to take up a state assembly against the governor of the state, it makes a mess of what we call the democracy, and then the people who are supposed to be protected becomes the victim at the end of it. And that is what we are still looking at. Even when you are talking about Kano, the Kano state issue is also the same issue we're talking about. Remember I told you that personally I don't like a situation whereby somebody elected on a particular political platform will move from that platform while still having the mandate of the people who voted for you, in line of the Supreme Court ruling that the mandate that the people give, they give it to the political party platform that sponsored the person, not the individual person, no matter how good you are. So if that is the case, why should you now move from your political party to another political party? And you call it is in the interest of the people. This is the things we are talking about. But we should not weaponize political processes. Allow people to take their decisions. And then if the people wants to say, okay, because you have gone to that place, we won't vote you again. Simple as ABCD. So that is how it is. So we shouldn't continue to make the democracy as if democracy is a very difficult system to operate. It's not difficult to operate. It's just about popular opinion and then people taking responsibility when there's need to. And if you don't take responsibility, the people will vote you away. And that's it. Once they vote you out, you are gone. But when the process in itself has been compromised, the institutions are compromised, it becomes a problem. And that is why some of the people who do what they do it because they know that they have a grip of certain institutions, including the judiciary. I can tell you that when they want to file cases in court, government institutions, they know the judge that is a pro-government judge to file their case. Lawyers, they understand that. They know which judge that if you go and give them, will say, give me injunction, they will give you. They know the ones that if you approach them, they will say no. So that is it. That is why the system has been bastardized. And then the democratic process is in danger. Because if the institutions that are supposed to safeguard democracy are hijacked by people who are very influential and people that have money, then democracy has been thrown overboard, because that is not democracy. That is what the civil society and the CNPP called political banditry.
Okay, looking at it now, the Kano State is a powerhouse when it comes to the north and election generally. How do you think this move now by Governor Abba Yusuf is going to be shaping the political landscape in the north, and given the fact that an election year is upon us?
You know that Kano is a complex political environment, because who would have known that the Kano that we know will even vote an NNPP person
to start with. So
Kano is a very peculiar environment that nobody can actually say what will happen in 2027 in Kano, because the thing is not as simple as it appears. You know, Kano is the only place where you have two sitting emirs who are occupying the same seat. The same stool is being occupied by two emirs as we speak.
Yes.
So many things are unique and they are happening in Kano. So nobody can actually say and beat his chest and say, yes, now that this is like this,
this is what
is going to happen in 2027. Until we get to the bridge, then we will cross it.
We'll definitely cross it, and as time is also asking us to cross out of the studio. So now, as we are getting set to wrap up all of this now, looking at the presidency now, and obviously being out of town, what swift move do you think the presidency would need to do, that's talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to gain stability in Rivers State politics, based on the fact that the governor now decamped to APC? technically to get support of the APC and find peace and not find himself impeached in the current happenings within the APC, the people of Rivers State and the lawmakers?
It's a simple thing. Just solve the problem. You see, problems are something that you cannot avoid. But when they arise, it is left for you to solve them.
Okay.
And leadership, one of the qualities of a good leader is ability to solve problems.
Yes.
If you are not a problem solver, don't even near leadership, because leadership is it gives you it creates an environment where you will be taking decisions that will lead to problem solving. And if you as a leader cannot solve problem, you don't have any business going there. So the president has a duty, a responsibility, and a constitutional role to stabilize democracy and ensure that the democratic tenets, the basic principles of democracy, are preserved. And that is what we need to do. And that is what the president has to do now. And very, very urgently, before this thing gets out of hand.
Okay, before it gets out of hand, let's look at it now. You know, the duty of the president is to stabilize democracy, right? And also, another primary duty now is to improve the livelihood of Nigerians. The president has made it clear that he wants to run again. Looking at the political know-hows, and they're looking at the current situation and economically where Nigeria is now. Do you think the president has done enough for people to want to vote him back in the coming elections?
I think it is the president that will now go back to the masses and ask them the question, have I done enough? You know, I watched one video of the president during that campaign period where the president was saying, if I did not give you 24/7 electricity supply, don't vote for me for a second tenure. so it is him that will go back to the people and ask them, have I done well?
Just of recent, before we came up live for this program, the national grid collapsed again for, you know...
I know, because national grid collapse has always been part of our national narrative. And you know, one of the challenge that we are having with power is the kind of persons that are appointed to head the power ministry. Remember, when Fashola was power minister, he combined 3 portfolios. He did not perform. And it was the same Fashola that told us that if a government that is responsible is ready to deal with the issue of the problem of electricity, he will give us electricity in 6 months. He handled it for 8 years, for 4 years, and he did not get it. And then they decided to pull that power and they give to someone else. The person too did not get it. But what the problem is that the people they appoint there most times are not professionals. The current person there in Ministry of Power is not a professional. He has no understanding of the business of power. He is more or less like an entertainer and a real estate developer. And so his business has nothing to do with power. And why should you put such a person in power ministry? You are creating a problem for your own self and for your government. So even the person will not be at peace because he's doing something that he don't understand. So power ministry requires a very good professional. If you have electromechanical engineer, put him there. Put somebody who has a discipline or a business that is related to power. See somebody like Professor Batinaji that had a business that related to power. See how he handled power when he was Minister of Power. That he developed a roadmap that was globally acclaimed. And people that came after him could not implement it. And people clapped for him. Go and check what he did, introduced at the Minister of Power. All those little transformers that serve different houses was what solved our low voltage problem.
Yes.
And then he was working towards power distribution and generation. All of a sudden, politics came in, and then some people said, you cannot, somebody that has a company that is doing electricity contract and jobs, then you want him to become a minister. No, so So, and then when the then President Goodluck Jonathan looked at it, he said, okay, first there will be no trouble. Choose between the ministry and your company. He said, oh, let's keep your let me go. Today, he's the one giving power to Aba and the other parts of Abia State. Because he decided to go with his company. Since you don't need me, let me go and develop something and that will help the ordinary people. And he's doing it. And that is what we're talking about. The people you are employing to take over some of these critical sectors. How professional are they? And that is the problem.
Okay, let's look at it now. Just last year, we saw a lot of incidents around insecurities, and that was one of the things that were promised by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to eradicate, but we almost saw like a massive rise of insecurity, kidnappings, a new form of banditry, coming out. Looking at it now from those angles, now, what can be done swiftly by the president? You're now addressing the president. Maybe what initiative can be created, and again to be able to call about all of these insecurities that we are witnessing. Just of recent, we saw some numbers of people around 13 being kidnapped in Kaduna State just recently.
Yeah, you see, the thing is that those 13 people that were kidnapped, I think the families, they are saying they have paid up to 40 million.
Yeah.
Now, after paying 40 million, the people have not been released. What does it tell? It tells of a government that is not ready to solve security problem.
Okay.
In a country, if you want to solve security problem, some of these people, they communicate with telephone. They will reach the family with a telephone. They direct them to where the ransom money will be dropped. The ransom money is dropped, taken, and the person that took that ransom money returns back to base. Security agencies are unable to trace these people. That is where the problem is.
Do you think it's do you think they are politically inclined?
You cannot divulge politics from what is happening, because from the beginning it was politics. Because some people say they want to make the then government of Goodluck Jonathan ungovernable. And then it's just like what happened in Niger Delta. During the political process, some boys were recruited to deliver some persons, and after that it turned into a criminal gang. Those groups now turn into criminal gangs, and they entered the creeks and say, we have seen money, let us see how we can use this weapon that have been given to us to make money for ourselves. And that's how they started kidnapping in Niger Delta and things like that. And security became a problem, getting to the busting of pipeline and things, until Yaradua came and said, come, that's why we're talking about leadership. Yaradua came and looked at the situation and said, okay, if I start fighting this thing the way others have been fighting it, it's not going to be resolved, because these people have something they are fighting for. They said yes, even though they are criminalizing the process, but they have something. They say that you are taking oil from our land and then you are doing nothing for us. So at least there's a little bit of legitimacy. Then what they did, okay, what I want to start solving the problem, all of you come out, and then we will forgive you, so that we can now begin to see how we can develop your place. But unfortunately, Yaradua did not live more than 2 years in office, and he died. And then governments that came tried to deviate from that amnesty program that was instituted. They saw the danger, they returned back to it. So that's what we're talking about, problems of it. The same thing with insecurity that we're having. You have to sit down, look at it. What is even fueling these security challenges, especially in the north? And it's because of the importation of some foreigners from different parts of the Sahel region to come to Nigeria to do business. So that is what is happening. They call it, for them, it's business. When you come, you succeed in kidnapping, you call your brother, come, business day here, make na come. they make we do things, and that is how it is happening, and that's the thing will continue to multiply until we start punishing them and punishing them severely.
Because the cancer wasn't cut from the root, so
no, you must cut it from the root. Otherwise, if we continue to treat it the way we are treating it, no, because you know what? Let me tell you how government is enabling some of these things. When governments, both state and local governments, begin to negotiate with criminals, you are enabling them, because once they now succeed in negotiating with you and they go home, then another group somewhere will say, if we up the game, they go negotiate with us too. And that is what the
and almost the same thing that is happening in River State. If it doesn't get control,
if it doesn't get control, if the River State crisis doesn't get control, other states will look at it and they emulate and say, this thing worked in Rivers. Let's use it.
All right, thank you so much, Comrade James Ezema, for joining us on today's edition of Discourse. Now they are pleading for us to leave this studio. All right, I also appreciate the entire production team for taking our time to make into this production seamless, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again as we discuss further. My name is Samuel Odi. Bye for now.